Welcome to our next episode of Bold Woman of the Week for Bold Her Truth Movement. I have Lindsey Chapman here with me today, which I'm so excited about. Lindsey and I met quite some time ago when she owned the best bar in Knoxville, but I want to leave it to her to kind of tell us about herself. So, Lindsey, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I am from Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm 48 years old. Uh, I am married to a great, great guy for 26 years. Um, and Taylor and I met, like she said, at our business, our bar that we have for 3.5 years. Number one bar in Knoxville for 3 years in a row. So that was very exciting. But yeah, I'm a native here to Knoxville, born and raised here. And yeah, I love living here. So
I love Knoxville. So, I moved to Knoxville 10 years ago and really found when I first visited, I think 15 years or so ago, I felt like it was home. Everybody is just so amazing. I love the mountains. I love the people. There's just so many great things about Knoxville. And we were particularly excited when you opened Fountain City Social back, a few years ago because we thought it was so different. And then we met you there and we would always leave saying, wow, Lindsay and Derek are just like the greatest people ever. We just clicked so fast and you could see how hard you were working too. Like I think something that's to me not as normal is to see a business owner at their business every single night behind the bar, cleaning the glasses, making sure everyone's happy. And that's something that Evan and I both respect you guys so much for all of the work that you put in. And it really shows too that you care about everything that you do and all the effort that you put into.
agreed, agreed. Derek and I have always been that way with our businesses. It's either you do it or you don't. So if you want it to be successful, then you're going to have to put all your effort into it. And so that's why so many businesses do fail today is because they're not into it wholeheartedly. And so when we had this dream, 10 years ago of doing a bar, we were like, okay, do we want to do this? If we want to do this, we're going to do it. And so we wanted to do it right. And we took all the things that we saw that we did like or we didn't like and incorporate that into our bar. So, and one of those things is being more catering to women. So, that's kind of like what, we talk about is women-based things and businesses. And so, being a woman business owner, it is difficult sometimes, but I do have good support in everything that I have done. Um, but yeah, that is a challenge sometimes is being heard, being loud, and being supported, because you have to make people take you seriously. And until you put your foot down and make people think that, then sometimes it can be a little difficult, but you get through it.
I think that's something so great that you brought up too, because I think as a woman, when you have to assert yourself in a certain manner, sometimes in careers and business, it can be taken one way or another. And I think it's figuring out how to do that and in a successful manner and still be eloquent and elegant about it, but get your point across and be aggressive enough. I guess not aggressive might not even be the right word, but assertive enough where people will take you seriously and know this is for real. I'm working hard at this and this is what I need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely been a challenge, but once you do it, it makes you appreciate it more.
Mhm.
And when you're successful at it, it makes you even more appreciative of yourself and the people who have supported you over the years. So that's been really, really nice.
Absolutely. Something cool too. You used to have in the women's bathroom, remind me, you used to have something, I think, about domestic violence in there, didn't you? Like resources. in the
Yes.
bathroom. And I remember seeing that, and I don't remember exactly what it was. So maybe you can elaborate, but I remember seeing that one of the first times I went into your bathrooms and thinking, wow, the owners truly care about the people that come to this place, and they want to make sure that everyone is safe and in a good environment. And I feel like that's just the extra mile that you went that really
Yeah.
stood out to me.
So one of the things that we did when we first opened our bar is Knoxville had a um, I don't know what you really call it. It was called Safe Bar. So we had someone come in and actually train us and our bartenders and staff on what domestic violence looks like, what people might say or do to recognize those things for us to pick on the up on those hues. And then also too, in the women's bathroom, we did have brochures that people could take home. And believe it or not, we put those in the men's bathroom and they actually got taken as well. So, it's not just women, it is men as well. But for the most part, we did want women to feel safe at our bar. And that's one reason why we had a lot of single women
Hmm.
come to our bar because they knew that we would watch out for them and our bartenders would watch out for them and take up for them if need be.
Absolutely. My mom and I actually came to your trivia night by ourselves one time, and that's not something that we would normally feel comfortable doing or doing, out in a bar environment. And that's something that I really loved about going there is that we did feel good. We knew we were always going to be looked out for, and it was such a great, fun environment too, which was so lighthearted and you need that sometimes.
Yes, fun, very fun.
And then you opened Vice Business Consulting, right?
Yes,
So can you tell us a little
yes,
bit more about that and your adventure with building up that business as well?
yes. So we sold our bar a little over a year ago, and we wanted to venture out in something a little bit different. We know so much about the bar industry, about opening up businesses and things of that such, because when I opened up my business, I had absolutely no help whatsoever. Um, and trying to figure out and pull all the information from so many different resources, it was very, very challenging. So, what we decided to do was open up Vice Business Consulting. So, what we do is we help other businesses, whether they're just opening up or whether they've been opened up for quite some time, and they're not quite up to par on how to do Google or how to do social media platforms. We help them get started in that, say, like a 90-day boot camp type thing, and lead them in the right direction and show them how to do those things so they can actually go and actually implement those on their own. We try to do like a 90-day trial, and then what we do is we step aside and kind of go on a retainer. And so whenever they need us, they can call us and we can kind of walk them through the steps. And people like that. People need that help. We've helped so many businesses lately kind of take that step forward in that direction of, okay, this is what you need to do here, or this is what you need to do there, or you don't have to do that. And so many businesses don't understand that you don't have to pay to be on Google. You don't have to pay to be on these platforms. You just have to be knowledgeable and you have to be very attentive to it continuously. And it is hard. It's very time consuming. And that's why I said I don't want to do that with my bar. That's why I let my husband do that. Because I said, there's no way I can do all of this. So he's like, just let me do it. I'll take it and run with it. And I said, perfect. So he helped me in a lot of ways with doing that. So I did the bar side of things and he did the social media. And we kind of just came together and just kind of put our heads together with ideas and that sort of thing. And it just kind of really, really worked out. um, but yeah, the Vice Business Consulting is going good. And it also was a business that I could also do as well while I was taking care of my mom when she was sick. So that kind of opened up the door for me to do that.
I love that you brought up the things that you were going through also while you were building a successful business. Because let's be real, life is not always butterflies and rainbows. And I think a lot of people see the exterior. And I think on Facebook and social media, all we're going to show is usually a highlight reel. And most of the time, people don't know what we're going through as we're also trying to navigate successful careers or building a business. And bringing that up, I think, is really important that, asking for help is important, whether it's business help or aside, personal help or something like that. But recognizing that you can be going through hard things and still navigate, help within your career as well is really important.
Right, right. And it's very good too that you have someone, whether it be a spouse, a friend, a family member, um, whatever it may be, to help you go through those things because, you know, thank goodness I have my husband because he's he's seen it all, and he went through it early on in his life, losing his parents, and so I think he's kind of relived everything through
Yeah.
me losing a lot of my family members. And so, with that being said, I'm glad he's been there to support me during all of these times because otherwise I would have just been a crazy hot mess.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's definitely been a big support for sure.
I we as a lot of people know, I know you know, but I actually don't know if the people logging in know this either. But my husband lost both his mother and father suddenly last year within just like 3 months of each other, and it came out of nowhere. And navigating loss was, I've lost loved ones before, and though at that point it was kind of expected, so you prepare a little bit differently. But when it's, when you have a diagnosis of, for us it was pancreatic cancer. I know you were also experiencing cancer as well. It's a such a I don't even know how to describe it, but having your people and making sure you ask for help and you become that, solid team together to work through all the things that you're going through as you go through that, I think is really important also.
Yes, agreed.
Having that
Agreed.
person that's like your a little bit of relief,
Yes.
while you're dealing
Yes.
with all of the motions. And then on top of that, having career and work and all of that too. I mean, there's just so many things that you navigate when you're navigating loss that I think a
True.
lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah. True. True. Very true. I completely agree with that.
So kind of going off that, I guess I would have a question for you. What would you tell a woman that was decided they want to open a business, right? Or building maybe a new career? What's maybe one piece of advice that you would give another woman that is exploring navigating a new career or a new business?
Um, I would just say, like I always tell everybody, if you are bound and determined to do something, just do it. Just do it. And if you need help, there are resources out there. You just have to find them and just don't give up until you do find those. Because if that's a dream that you want, then do it because you're never going to forgive yourself if you say, well, I really wanted to do that, but I didn't do it because.
Right.
Um, if you want to live, I don't know, in New York, go live in New York. If you want to go to live in whatever. If you want to travel the world, do it because, you only have so much time
Mhm.
here and you've got to make the best of it. And, kind of like us open up the bar, we had so many resources and people that could help us, but we got the door slammed in our face so many times. And I just kept on pursuing and pursuing and pursuing. And then we would have to just dig deeper and dig deeper and dig deeper. And sometimes we wouldn't find out things until they kind of just crept up on us and they said, oh, no, you have to do this or you have to do that this way. And we're like, okay, well, we didn't know.
Right.
You just, you know,
Figuring
you
it
just kind of
out.
are flying by the seat of your pants. So, and each business is different within itself. Having a restaurant or a bar or something like that is a little bit different than having, you know, like vice business consulting. You don't have a lease, you don't have all these little things that you have to check the boxes on. Um, so, but yeah, they just need to find the resources, do it,
Mhm.
because if you don't, guess what? Somebody else will.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be, smacking yourself. Why didn't I do that? And so that's why I always tell people, just do it. If you want to do it because it's a great thing.
I think it's really great that you brought up that you've had the door slammed in your face multiple times as well, because I think most people see a successful business owner and all they see is the end product, the success. But what they don't see is, the roller coaster ride that it took to actually even just get there. And
Yep.
a lot of the times you're going to get the door slammed in your face, you're going to get the no's, and you're going to get the upsets and the things that you didn't expect to happen. And I call it the roller coaster of business because I think I go through that set of emotions probably every single day in my
Yeah.
career. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is pushing past that and not letting the no's or the doors being slammed in your face stop you from fully living out what you're dreaming of. And
Yeah.
obviously that shows with everything that you've accomplished and you've done is you've built all of these successful businesses and now you're helping all of these other businesses to be successful. And that's a huge theme, I think, is just not letting the doors being slammed in your face stop you from pushing past that.
Agreed. Agreed. And like even when we were it's kind of funny. So when we first saw the where we were previously at our bar, we saw that place. My husband drove by and saw it was up for lease. And he called and called and called and called, and no one would ever return his call.
Wow.
So he said, I just walked over to the pet store. And he said, who runs this place? And so finally, he got somebody's number and called them and said, hey, I want to know about this place. And then, that was our first smack in the face.
Mhm.
Then our second smack in the face was, you don't have enough money to lease this place. You don't have enough money. And sure enough, they came along and they leased it to us, and so it's like people will tell you no all the time, but just keep on pursuing because that's not always the end outcome. It's you have to keep trying.
Right.
You really do.
And that it's so hard when you are going through that at the time and you keep getting the no's and the no's and the no's. And sometimes I feel like I know Evan experiences this, I do. I'm sure you have too, is that you feel like sometimes those are just being thrown at you and it's like all at once and you're like, oh my gosh, how much more can I handle? Like, I don't know. But I think in those moments, like you said, pushing past it and almost being just grateful for even just where you are at the time, I think is really important too. And just keeping that positive, something I've been working on is keeping a constant positive mindset no matter what happens, which is very, very hard to do. But also, I
It
think
is.
what can help push you through all of those things when they're just being fired left and right at you, which sometimes that's what it feels like. You're just drowning, but really
Right.
you're still making progress. You're just not seeing it for yourself a lot of the time, I think.
True. True. Very true.
Yeah. So, in light of our Bolder Truth, the fact that this is like a Bolder Truth interview, I have a couple of questions that we came up with that I thought would be fun to ask you.
Okay.
Let's see. So, what's the first one I want to ask? Okay. What is a chapter of your life that almost broke you, but ultimately built you?
So Derek and I talked about this. So I would have to say that this is kind of I'm going to make this a short story. So probably my adoption. So I'm adopted. I was adopted at 18 months old. And when I was probably, I don't know, 12 or 13 when my parents told me I was adopted. Later on in life, I really, really wanted to pursue finding my birth mother. And I did find her the year that I got married. And it was soon after that is when they opened up all the closed adoptions
Mhm.
that you were able, but I had already found her, and actually she was looking for me as well. So
Wow.
um, I was born in Chattanooga, so I'm still a Tennessee native, but I was born in Chattanooga, and she was very, very excited to meet me and all the things, and then for her to have a relationship with my kids was always wonderful. But it did build me into a different person, I feel, and it made me appreciate, uh, my parents more, just because they gave me that opportunity, but so did she as well.
Mhm.
And she had very good reason to. I had an abusive grandfather. And so she did not want to put me, she was a single mom, so she did not want to put me through that situation. So I think that she made the ultimate choice, and in doing that, but also too, she was never really my mom. My mom was my adopted mom. She's always been my mom, and my dad. So, but yeah, that's something that really built me, I think, I feel for my entire life.
Absolutely. And I'm sure when you find out at 12 or 13, when you found out at 12 or 13 years old, that was probably a slew of emotions also to,
Yeah, it was a little confusing, but you're like, you're kind of like, well, okay, you don't really know exactly what that means.
Mhm.
But you kind of just go along the flow, or whatever. So I wasn't really given a whole lot of information at the time. So I just kind of had to do the research on my own
Right.
when I was an adult.
What an amazing story, though. I actually didn't know any of that, that you've found her and reconnected. That is absolutely amazing. So cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so
Yeah. It
important,
is.
to have
Yeah, it is. It is.
that
So it was
connection.
really fun.
Yeah. Okay, so I have one more.
Yes.
Let's see. I'm trying to decide which one. Okay. Was there ever a moment that you felt like you lost yourself? And then what did you do to gain it back, I guess?
Well, so as you recently know, I had a bout with vertigo, which actually was BPPV. A lot of people don't exactly know what that is.
Mhm.
Um, but it's a type of vertigo that happens when your crystals come out of your inner ear. And with all of a sudden me waking up like that and then doing all the research on what this is, why it's happening, it's dreadful, because there's so many people with this
Mhm.
and they don't reel back from it. They live with this, and in the back of my mind, I was devastated because I was like, how in the world can I live like this without doing day-to-day functions? From sitting up in a chair to taking a shower, brushing your teeth. I mean, it was just because my whole world had completely caved in. And, but and there again, my husband being the knight in shining armor that he is, I'm very blessed that he was able to take me to therapy. I went and saw an ENT, and they sent me to therapy, and thankfully, there's now people for that.
Mhm.
With 10 rounds of therapy, luckily, I just kind of snapped out of it, type deal. Uh, but yeah, I wasn't sure that I was gonna get through that. But we did. So that was a good thing. That was a really, really good thing. So
Absolutely. And it came on suddenly, didn't it? You just kind of,
yeah, I woke up with it just all of a sudden.
which is so crazy. And because I've heard of vertigo before, and when we were messaging back and forth about it, when I was making sure you're okay, you were like the crystals in my ear. I was like, well, I know nothing about any of this stuff, but I'm like, wow, I had no idea. And then it
Me
lasted.
either.
It lasted. I mean, I know you were down for quite a while, for
Yeah.
weeks, and I felt so bad because I was like, I don't know how to help, but I know it was like a lot of just rest probably, and I'm sure you went through all the.
There's so many things that you get sore literally from laying in bed, because that's really and you can't turn certain ways. And it was very challenging. I would say out of all the things that has happened to me in my entire life, that would probably be the most challenging.
Mhm.
So, as far as because you're literally counting on someone else to help you with everything,
Yeah, which I have
including
very.
driving and eating and drinking and every all the things. So yeah, it was challenging for sure, for sure.
I think too, like,
Um,
navigate through life, you're thrown these things that you would never expect, right? Like this just happened. What? A couple
yes,
weeks ago. And it's so funny because I'm sure your answer to that question would have been 2 months ago, obviously would have been probably a different answer. But I think as we navigate through life, there's just so many different things that are thrown our way that we don't expect. That's part of why I kind of wanted to create a general, like the basis of the Bold Her Truth community and movement that I wanted to create was not breast implant illness specific, not infertility specific, not domestic assault specific. I wanted to make it like this, where, as we navigate life, we're going to deal with different things, whether we know it or not. 10 years from now, we'll probably have, I might have something else that I go through, or you may have something else that you go through. And having that community of people that are there to build and support you, I think is really important too, is having those people that care, and just because I didn't go through vertigo or you didn't go through, the things that I've gone through doesn't mean we can't be there to support each other and be there for each
exactly,
other. And
exactly. Yeah, we're all in the same boat here.
yes, yes, just we're all doing life for the first time and we're all just trying to figure it out.
Yes, yes, yes. We just have to, really find ways to comfort each other and figure out how, we can help one another and, um, you know, just be there, and sometimes a lot of people don't have that, which is sad.
I know.
So yeah, I'm very thankful that I have friends and family that can help me navigate through those things.
And I think it goes back to kind of what we mentioned before is like not being afraid to ask for help because like in the situation that you just went through, you had to ask for help and accept help.
Yes.
And I don't know if you're anything like me, but I hate asking for help and I'm not good at accepting help. And that's something that I've personally been working on is like, nobody can do anything alone. Like, we need the support system, we need the help, we need to accept the help. And, I think you're a true version of that where you were like, okay, I need to accept this help in this time. And Derek's amazing. So I'm sure he had everything laid out for you and all of that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Same, for sure, for
but
sure.
having that support is really important too.
Yes, yes,
So it says
agreed.
we have about 9 minutes left. So
Okay.
just set. Um, is there anything else in particular that you wanted to talk about kind of on this interview that you want women to maybe take away from the interview or anything that you would want to share?
Um, I think just, whatever circumstance you're going through, or whether it may be, caring for a loved one, a death in the family,
Mhm.
or trying to open up a business, trying to close a business, trying to go down a different road. Someone might be going through a divorce, someone might be going through a separation, someone might be going through, you know, um, child support issues, whatever it may be, you just have to look forward,
Mhm.
and look to the future and not look to the past. And I know that's something that's been really, really, really hard for me,
Mhm.
um, just because I've had so many deaths in the family over the years. Like Derek and I were talking about it. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, nobody else can die.
Yeah, like we
But
need a break.
yeah, it's like we need a break.
Yeah.
But, just know that, life does go on. Life moves forward, not backwards.
Mhm.
And, even though you're going through what you're going through, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Mhm.
Um, just like caring for my mom or caring for my dad. I knew what the end outcome was going to be. But, you're in that moment and just appreciate it while it's there,
Yes.
and just look to the future because it does get broader. It does get broader. And, just like finally, like we're in the middle of moving. I
Mhm.
remember when we were opening up the bar, it was like, oh my gosh, we're never going to get there. We're never going to get there. We want to open up the bar.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we're open, and it's like, wait a minute, we're already here. And so it eventually gets there. You do get there. You just have to stay positive, keep moving forward, and just live your dream. I mean, just do what you want to do, and just be happy, be positive, like you
Mhm.
said, try to stay positive. Sometimes that is hard. And that's where I always lean on my husband. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be negative for a minute,
Yeah. Let me get it out.
yeah, let me get it out. But and he always helps me turn around and make it into a positive. So that's always really, really been helpful for me. He's like, okay, let's just look at this in a positive type of way. So, but yeah, that's what my takeaway is do what you want to.
Mhm.
You don't have to follow anybody else's rules. Everybody's an adult. You
Mhm.
make adult decisions and do what you want, whether it's, you know, like you're going to the Miss America thing.
Yeah.
So I'm super pumped about that. I'm so excited.
Thank you. I'm really
So
excited too.
excited. Yes.
Well,
And I know your parents are super excited.
part of the reason, one of the reasons that I went back into it and I got back into it is exactly what you're saying, right? Like I always thought that I had to like fit this mold or fit this role. I'm married now. I have to have kids. I have to do this. I have to live a certain way. And then after just all the loss, what we've been through and everything, we kind of took a step back and we're like, wait, we can do other things. We can live out our dreams and we can be more intentional and that was kind of part of it too, is just being more intentional in general and just appreciating the moments that you're in while you're in it, no matter what the circumstances are. And I think you brought up a great point with navigating loss and knowing, going through what we went through last year as well with caring for Evan's mom and dad is just enjoying and savoring those moments together and being intentional and present in the moment, I think is part of society's problem right now is we're glued to our phones. And
Yes,
and we're glued to the stress of what the phones bring, what the social media brings, whatever that brings, instead of taking a step back, being present in our lives, being intentional, and just trying to enjoy the moments that we have in this very, very short period of time that we get to be on Earth.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
I
we
think
have to appreciate it.
that's why Evan and I and my parents, we love hanging out with you and Derek so much too, because it's such a light, like it's it's always easy. We always have such good conversations. It's so like enjoyable. We can do nothing and we can do everything. And no matter what we're doing when we're together with you guys, we always leave feeling good and we just have always have such a great time. So I really appreciate our friendship. But
Oh, well, that's sweet. Well, thank you. We do too. We do too. Even though sometimes we're kind of just like, we're boring sometimes. We're just
Thank
like, no,
you.
we're not going to do anything.
Us too. It's like I rather lay in bed sometimes, but that's what I love
Yes.
about it is that we can do that and like nobody's ever going to get mad or like there's no pressure. It's just, and that's the friendships that I love to have. And part of like that's kind of the community that I want to build is having those people that are going to support you no matter what, no matter if you're like, I am too tired of people today. I need to lay in bed and do nothing. And they're like, go for it, like that's
Yep.
important to have those friendships in your life.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming on here today. I'm so
Well,
excited to
thank you
share
for
this
inviting
episode.
me. Yes, I'm more than happy to support you.
Thank you. Well, and I want to tell everybody that's watching today, if you are building a business or maybe you're wanting to build one or open one or you just want advice, anything like that, call Lindsay at Vice Business Consulting because honestly, she's got such great advice. She has the knowledge, the will and the way. Like she'll figure it out for you of what maybe you need to do and just having that experience I think is really important too. So on top of this episode, I'm going to actually post some information if you're okay with it, Lindsay, about Vice Business Consulting because I think this is something that a lot of people would be interested in around here. So
Yes, yes, absolutely. We'll be more than happy to help.
awesome. Well, thank you, Lindsay.
You're
All
welcome. Talk soon.
right. Bye.
Bye.